Oops, I haven't even turned on the sign yet. So I'm excited. I just got something in the mail today. This looks like it's another Ralph Forsberg film. The Christian filmmaker who did Stalked, Parable. What else did he? He did quite a few really amazing ones. And this one I've been looking for. It was called Ant Keeper. I'm going to check it out. Maybe we'll watch it later. Anyway, so that last film, this is the AV Geeks lunchtime streaming show, and I'm Skip Elsheimer, if I haven't said it already. And we watch old 16mm films, and that last film that we watched was a kind of sports reel. Grantland Rice, who put together compilation reels of sports activities and different things. So we have a couple of those that kind of show up, both college, professional sports, Olympics things, and also kind of weird kind of regional events. So anyways, let's see. So behind me I have on the scanner, have a film, Getting Everyone There. And I haven't seen this one in forever, and we certainly have never shown it, so enjoy.
Of people with places to go. Like in most metropolitan areas, people require safe and efficient transportation to take them through their busy daily schedules. The Metropolitan Atlanta Rapid Transit Authority, MARTA, meets the challenge by providing Atlanta citizens a means of keeping pace with the rhythmic, progressive motion of a growing city. By extending transportation to so many people, MARTA also helps eliminate traffic congestion. Each full MARTA bus can alleviate traffic by as many as 47 cars. MARTA is striving to meet the transportation needs of Metro Atlanta so that people can take advantage of the opportunities offered by a growing urban area. MARTA buses are continually rolling to keep up with a busy population that's always on the move. But there are many people in our society who cannot take advantage of regular transit services. The elderly and handicapped often encounter unique problems when going from one place to another, making difficult, if not impossible, the mobility many of us take for granted. For many who use walking aids or wheelchairs, steps and curbs might as well be Mount Everest.
The main problem you got with handicapped people and getting around this curb, unless you're awful strong, you can't get up on a curb because you have to jack yourself up and then push your whole weight forward. Another problem handicapped persons got's in the transportation, because unless you got somebody that can go with you all the time, you have to just try taxis or, like, you know, a van or something, which is a whole lot of extra cost.
Identifying transportation problems was just the beginning. MARTA examined these problems and looked at ways to make bus service more accessible to people with special needs. A program especially for the elderly and handicapped was developed. What started as a plan on the drawing board became viable transportation for those with restricted mobility. The first step was to improve regular bus service for greater accessibility.
In the past, the height of the first step has made it difficult for many people to get on and off buses. All the newer MARTA buses are equipped with what we call the kneelers. This allows the first step at the front door to be lowered considerably. For much easier access.
In addition to the kneeler, MARTA added other improvements. During non-peak hours, the elderly and handicapped ride MARTA buses for half the usual fare. Priority seating near doors makes getting on and off easier. Well-placed reminders encourage patrons to respect this policy. Atlanta residents and visitors can relax and enjoy the cleanest and safest ride offered by any major transit system in North America. All newer MARTA buses are equipped with extra handrails and stanchions for greater safety and comfort. Other modifications, such as side destination signs and touch-activated doors, simplify regular bus travel and add to convenience and accessibility.
But what about the elderly and handicapped whose transportation needs were not met by regular service improvements?
I want to welcome you to this meeting of MARTA's Elderly and Handicapped Advisory Committee.
In an effort to bring the elderly and handicapped into the mainstream of urban life, MARTA formed an Elderly and Handicapped Advisory Committee. 14 people, representing various disabilities, meet regularly with MARTA officials to discuss their transportation problems they face daily in moving about Atlanta to work, school, or shopping.
We hoped it would not be a token committee. It has not turned out that way. We have had our input, and hopefully MARTA has listened to the recommendations that we have made. And as taxpayers, we want to see accessible public transportation available for everyone, because if Atlanta is going to be the international city it purports to be, it has to think of all citizens.
I'm very interested in an accessible, usable transit system at MARTA. And this includes buses, it includes trains, it includes station designs, and it includes where MARTA is housed. I want to be able to use buses like anybody else. I want to be able to go out and hail a bus, pay my fare, get on, and do it just like anybody else.
I think that MARTA has a very good chance here to do something for a lot of people that really hasn't been done before.
In addition to the recommendations of the E&H committee, MARTA conducted a survey of elderly and handicapped people to further define their transportation needs. MARTA also held public hearings to give interested citizens a chance to contribute their opinions during the planning stages of the program. The results of the survey indicated a need for two different services, one for the elderly, another for the handicapped. E-bus service was developed especially for the elderly in Atlanta's communities. People who want to be involved with others, who want to stay active. E-bus is one way to keep in touch with the community. Service is available to groups of elderly who have the same regular destination. E-bus operates during weekday non-peak hours between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. These routes use the newer buses equipped with the kneeler feature to make boarding much easier. Many E-bus routes go from elderly housing facilities to major shopping centers. Routine shopping can become a pleasurable group activity, an outing to look forward to.
We really do enjoy the ride, you know, especially in the spring, you know, with the flowers and all. Oh, everybody enjoyed that. That would have been worth the trip itself. We kind of look forward to it, you know.
This is the first time I've been on a bus in about 14 months, I believe. Really enjoyed it. It's given me confidence again that I can go places and do things. I can go to the store maybe now. I feel like I can go grocery shopping next week. We enjoy the getting out, and besides getting to go to a large shopping center to do our grocery shopping, drugstores and ice cream parlors and restaurants, and we have plenty of time, you know.
E-buses usually run once weekly, but can be scheduled more or less often to meet specific needs. The fare for this service is only 25 cents each way. This service is arranged when a group representative calls MARTA's Special Services Unit. E-bus is designed to provide transportation for people who are not served by regular bus service, offering transportation opportunities to everyone. That's what MARTA's all about.
When we all get back on the bus, while we're ready to come home, the drivers have been very courteous. It has been a splendid program, and we've enjoyed it very much.
But there are others with special transportation needs. Handicapped people who face unusual difficulties living and working in an urban environment. Many handicapped are unable to use standard buses because of the steps and other obstacles. To provide a means of mobility, MARTA created a lift bus service called L-Bus. Standard buses are brought out of retirement and modified in MARTA's own shop specifically for the handicapped. Lifts installed in wider doors make boarding possible for wheelchair patrons. Seating is rearranged to be more accessible to people who use walking aids. Wheelchair tie-downs and signal cords placed below windows add to wheelchair patrons' convenience. Non-slip flooring and extra space are other details that make travel more comfortable for the handicapped. MARTA chose to convert retired buses not only to give them new life, but also to keep L buses consistent with the existing maintenance program, thus keeping costs down. It takes about 500 manpower hours to produce an L bus with all its modifications and special features. It is then marked with the International Handicap symbol for easy identification. The E&H Committee was the first to try it out. They offered suggestions based on their own experience that provided MARTA with valuable information on how successful the L-bus modifications actually were. The consensus was that L-bus service would provide the transportation so important to handicapped people for taking advantage of training, work, and educational opportunities. When L-buses aren't in use, they may be chartered for special transportation needs.
Could something be put at the back? They'll start it building at the back of this back thing here, back there, and bring it further out so that your slope, you bring your slope down more gradually.
But L-bus service means more than a specially modified bus.
When I heard the announcements on the radio that MARTA was trying to start a lift bus service, it was important to me because my purpose here is to develop a program for school students to become integrated in the services here. The biggest obstacle, to my surprise, to their involvement was transportation. So this is a very essential first part of rehabilitation. For the first time, larger numbers of multi-handicapped people can receive vocational training.
And for every handicapped person that you see on the streets, there are more that you don't see, a lot more. There are people who just never get to go anywhere. Maybe a 19-year-old guy who's so disabled that he cannot get in and out of a car by himself. And it's for that kind of person that the bus could make an enormous difference.
By introducing bus service, it can mean the difference between a solitary existence and some participation in society for a lot of people.
Trying to finish my GED so I can attend DeKalb College. Mommy riding MARTA. I've been able to get here on time every morning and leave on time in the afternoon. That's very important to me.
I've been a quadriplegic going on 9 years, and I think the MARTA L-bus is going to be a great help to a lot of the handicapped, not only in wheelchairs, but the people that have a hard time walking around or any other handicap or disability.
There are people shut in that have no other way of getting around, no car or no one to lift them in and out of cars, when you can just get down to a street corner and flag down a MARTA bus and go just like the able-bodied person can, well, then that'll be a great asset.
Here at our operating facility, L-bus drivers receive specialized training. Not only are the drivers instructed in the mechanical operation of the L-bus, they are sensitized to the particular needs of handicapped people. And the emphasis on safety has helped L-Bus patrons to gain confidence in the service.
Through direct experience, operators learn firsthand some of the problems of impaired mobility. The training also includes instruction on the use of specialized equipment, such as the manually operated hydraulic lift, used only in the case of power failure. A request for L-Bus begins with a call to MARTA's Special Service Unit.
Yes, ma'am. I'm calling about some information about MARTA's L-Bus for the handicapped. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I live at Peachtree in Roxborough, and I wanted to be downtown around 8:30.
Okay, thank you.
We have a service request for L-Bus 2 service at Peachtree and Roxborough Road. It wants to be picked up at 8 o'clock.
The origin and destination will be pinpointed on a route map. The request may be served by an existing L-Bus route, or a new route can be designed when a sufficient number of people request service from one general area to another. Although L-Bus routes are designed solely on the basis of requests from the handicapped, the occasional rider, whether handicapped or not, may flag an L-Bus down. The fare for L-Bus service is $1 each way, with required attendance to the handicapped riding free. Quite a savings compared to other similar methods of transportation.
One of the problems that we all have had is getting around the city. Transportation is very expensive. It's really been nice that now you have the L-Bus, and you can just pay the $1, get on the bus, and go where you're going. Like I had a van before, I just sold it about a month and a half ago, and I'm tall, and so I had to cut the top out of the van and elevate the roof, and so when I go someplace, I can't see but 20 feet in front of me, and that's the ground. And so the first day I rode the L-Bus, it was really weird being able to see what happens in the neighborhood and stuff. It's really different now to be able to look around and see houses and look in people's faces. I work at Georgia State as a counselor to handicapped students. We want to make handicapped individuals adjust to their disability so that they can do things that everybody else does in society. We want to open up opportunities to them and make them see that in spite of their disability, they're just like everybody else.
I don't need an L-Bus or an E-Bus. I only need to have it so that I can ride the regular buses and have the little needs of mine met to make my transportation problems a lot easier. For example, being able to identify a bus when it pulls up to the stop.
This is 23 Oglethorpe bus.
I'm waiting for number 10.
It's been very gratifying to learn that after having been on this committee and made these suggestions, the bus drivers invariably call out the name of the bus when they pull up to the stop, which lets me know where it's going. Having the bus stop right at the stop so that when the door opens, I don't crash into the side of it. These are concerns, and thank goodness we have some situations in which they have been met as a result of this committee.
MARTA looks to the future in designing a rail system that will make travel safe and efficient for the elderly and handicapped. Over 50 miles of track will extend across the metro area to service Atlanta. Seating arrangements and doorways for the elderly and mobility impaired, textural markings for the blind, ramps and elevators, all are intended to make travel available to everyone, no matter what their transportation requirements.
I'd like to briefly go through the Civic Center station design for the members of the committee.
To make sure rapid transit is accessible to people with mobility problems, engineers and architects are working with the E&H Committee in designing stations and rail cars.
John, one of the nicest things about being on this committee is that so many of us have been out advocating for better employment opportunities, for more accessible buildings, for curbs to be built, and yet none of that's going to do us any good unless we have some transportation to get people there and back to their homes. That makes MARTA pretty important in terms of this entire program. And in doing that, I think my concern is that I don't want the little things to be forgotten. Things like the fact that I don't want to slip down when I'm walking down to that station. I want some non-skid surface. I don't want my cane to fall in the crack between the elevator when I'm trying to get out. And I want the drivers on the buses to be trained so that while I'm standing, that driver does not pull off, and with all of these beautiful equipment, I don't fall down. And I think that's really important for us not to forget the little things that those people who are not handicapped people tend to forget.
Good morning, Marta.
It's the details, the little things, that make the difference in MARTA's service. It's been the concern extended and recommendations heeded that has made MARTA one of the best urban transit systems in the country today. MARTA is proud of its leadership role in helping to solve some of the mobility problems faced by the elderly and handicapped. Day by day, MARTA is committed to providing a useful public transit system to keep everyone on the move. To request E-Bus or L-Bus service, call MARTA's Special Services Unit, 586-5440.
I actually have some other MARTA films, and I got these from engineering department at NC State, so there must have been someone in engineering that was doing public transportation stuff. So pretty great. Let's keep the 70s rolling with many voices.
Americans, the broad variety of people who make up our society. Their parents and grandparents were the men and women who cleared the land, tilled the soil, built the railroads, worked the mines, and forged the steel in the building of our nation. Some of our forefathers came here by ship from England in the 1600s. Some of our people were already here and met those ships. Most of our forebears arrived later in the 17 and 1800s on other kinds of ships. Some came seeking greater opportunities and freedoms. Some came here because they had no choice. Our people did not disappear into a melting pot. We are people who enjoy our own special customs and traditions, foods and costumes, languages and music, crafts and performing arts. And together, we make up America, strong and rich in its cultural variety, a vivid mosaic of our entire society, yet with each piece retaining its own bright and essential integrity.
So much about us, so many fantastic things about our respective selves are not known by other people. And as they become known, the sense of the wealth of our diversity and the strength of our continued efforts in behalf of those deep and true beliefs that we hold is in fact the strength of the fabric of our society.
The American Revolution Bicentennial Administration recognizes the importance of our nation's ethnic and racial heritage, and we are working with many groups to make sure there is full participation in the bicentennial. Many of the people you see here are active in a national forum called the Bicentennial Ethnic Racial Council, or BERC. In 1975, over 500 representatives of various ethnic and racial groups met in their nation's capital to exchange ideas on bicentennial programs and activities.
One dominant theme stands out. Bicentennial Ethnic Racial Council members want to work with other groups in their own localities on bicentennial projects that will promote mutual cultural respect and progress.
BERC representatives are setting up local or regional ethnic racial forums to continue the work begun at their national conference. To join with them, contact your state bicentennial commission for information on ethnic, racial, and Native American programs in your area. There are a number of ways you can get involved in a bicentennial project. Bicentennial plans revolve around the themes of Heritage 76, Festival USA, and Horizons 76. Heritage 76 lets us remember the many peoples of the United States who have contributed to the growth and prosperity of our country. Young people are researching and recording the histories of their neighborhoods and sharing that special history with others. Many communities are restoring churches and meeting halls to preserve the cultural heritage of their people. Older Americans hand down a sense of pride in ethnicity to their children. And many people are conserving traditional arts and crafts for future generations. Festival USA is an opportunity for us to celebrate our cultural traditions through music, dance, foods, and crafts. Racial and ethnic communities in almost 100 American cities will hold festivals this year to share traditions and folkways with visitors of similar backgrounds from around the world through the Smithsonian Institution's Old Ways in the New World on Tour program. Many local groups are working together to hold city celebrations, neighborhood fairs, and programs of traditional music and dance. You can organize your own bicentennial festivities to celebrate your community's cultural richness. Horizons 76 is a challenge to work together to shape a better tomorrow. In ethnic and racial communities, neighborhood improvement and multi-ethnic education programs play a large part. Looking to the 3rd century, it is important that our children have a sense of self-awareness and understanding of the backgrounds of their schoolmates.
I see the bicentennial in a sense of tapping into our roots. It taps into our resources, energy, sharing with others without fear, irrespective of the differences, and putting ourselves together in a better way to face the challenge of the third century.
Get involved in the bicentennial in your community. Talk with your neighbors about how you can join the world's largest volunteer effort, the observance of our nation's 200th birthday. Your ethnic, racial, or Native American bicentennial project may qualify for recognition through the National Bicentennial Ethnic Racial Alliance. For information, write to the Ethnic Racial Program Office, American Revolution Bicentennial Administration, 2401 E Street Northwest, Washington, D.C., 20276.
America is not a melting pot. It is a nation of nations whose cultural and ethnic pluralism is a fact of life, a fact that should be acknowledged, a fact that should be celebrated. The bicentennial is a time to view our cultural pluralism as our national strength, a time to see that it is this very quality that enriches us, a time to honor and share with one another, and above all, a time to work together towards a unity of purpose within our rich diversity.
Um, 1976. I really enjoyed reading your comments about what you remember about participating in the bicentennial. I remember we did some sort of special school thing, but I can't remember what it was. It was like some special program, and each class had its own little skit and songs that we sang and all that stuff. So it was a big deal. All right, so I just got this film. I don't normally go on eBay to buy stuff, but every once in a while I look and I find something. I'm like, oh, I've been looking for that. And so this is the Ralph Forsberg film, Ant Keeper. Ralph is not a traditional Christian filmmaker. In fact, when I asked him, I actually met him because he made a film that traumatized me as a child, like seriously traumatized me. He helped direct Late Great Planet Earth. I saw it in the theater. I ran out of the theater in tears and had nightmares for a month and was completely freaked out because I thought the world was coming to an end. Anyways, I confronted him about it, and he didn't quite say which religious denomination he was affiliated with. He said that he was a very spiritual person. So his films are not, like I said, they're not traditional. They use odd imagery and stories to kind of get the point about Christian messages across, but sometimes they're so weird and obtuse that you're like, what? But I think he does this intentionally to get Christians to start talking about things. So you show it in a Sunday school or church setting, and then everybody sits there and kind of thinks about it. This is not a way to bring people into Christianity. This is something to challenge those who identify as being Christian. So anyways, that I'm a big fan of his work, and I felt like I met him and was able to reconcile the nightmares that I had and how cracked my psyche was because he was a very kind man. Unfortunately, he has passed, but Anyways, so here is Ant Keeper, the Ant Keeper. Enjoy.
From the summit of the highest mountain, if one tries to look up there, one can see only garden. Each bloom is exquisite, each leaf of great perfection. Who has measured the seas and the oceans in the hollows of these hands? Who has weighed mountains with a balance and hills with a scale? In the valley below, only my garden is forbidden. There reign the gardener and El Hijo, above the circle of the earth so high that its inhabitants are like insects. Creatures discover the sweetness of the valley, and life is idyllic, save for the anxiety of being just creatures. Arousing in them a strange and unaccountable defiance, an inner stirring first felt by Bruja, who tends this garden on the valley's farther side, opposite the summit. Once, this Bruja had helped the maidens tend the gardener's garden, but always with a gnawing doubt, a lust for power. Until, rebelliously, Bruja urged the others to join and seize the garden. Reluctantly, the gardener had no choice but to drive her from the summit. And Bruja descended into the valley. Claiming a dying volcano as domain. And as the gardener's garden became naught but a memory, Bruja fashioned a garden of her own, of the stuff about. And in her sickness to be as the gardener, tried desperately to reshape her form and visage. But only half the face was sufficiently pliable to mock the gardener's eminence. and sprout a growth of beard. So Bruja tends its garden, half-bearded gardener, half-maiden. And its tending is confusion.
The mead is tastier in the garden above.
Tempts Bruja.
Fly to it. Feed of it. Felicity. Tell your mate.
In its rebellion, Bruja goads these creatures to greater distrust of the gardener.
The nectar's tastier in the garden above.
Tempts Bruja.
Fly to it. Feed of it. Power, felicity. Forcefully. Forcefully. Felicity.
Violate it.
Feed of it.
The gardener's garden.
Feed of it. 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 Feed of it.
My creatures of the valley. With a tap of his thumb, he can destroy them. But he will not. Yet he cannot permit another rebellion for their destiny and for his garden. Painfully, the queen lays a bed of eggs to daily toil. All born here will be wingless. Occasionally, the wingless pair glance up to the mountain where the garden grows with great longing. The tiny nest has grown into many colonies, built by generations of worker children. The old first queen is dead, her dull body dragged out of the hill by generations of her own offspring and left to rot. Days drag on, filled with digging more chambers and squeezing the juice from a laborious harvesting of seeds. Only the worship of a garden by the crater, tended by an awesome being they dare not offend, relieves the monotony of the daily rounds. Yet, the creatures are prospering. each new hill swelling their colonies. Some become builders.
Why not shirk a while?
Some farmers.
Get yours. I'll get mine.
Herds of plant lice are brought to and from pasture and milked for their honeydew.
Watch out for number one.
Workers carry leaves as compost for beds of especially cultivated mushrooms.
Open your eyes and curse the others.
The young are fed and cared for by conscientious nurses.
Curse the others. Curse! Curse!
Now, a greedy queen suspects that her workers are withholding the honeydew they collect for her colony. She exploits them as living storage jars. The honeydew is forced into them. Until their bellies swell to the size of agates. Now, some steal into the nurseries of their neighbors to snatch their eggs for food. Now, some capture workers to toil for them in slavery. Now, suspicion becomes the order of life in the valley, and the hills resort to warfare, each colony falling upon the other.
I have called you by your name. You are mine.
What must be done so they might trust him? Living among them? Becoming one of their existence? So that they might never again mistake the double-faced Bruja for themselves? To become one. Of them. A humble nurse stumbles upon an egg outside an entrance to her hill. She bears it safely to a chamber. And out of the dry ground, he grew. Elihu toils among his creatures as a slave of the rulers. He comforts the nurses who are frantic because eggs have been stolen by hungry marauders. He helps the torn and the terrorized. And slowly, sluggishly, a humble few recognize his difference from themselves. Though they walk in darkness without a gleam of light, let them trust in the gardener, for they are his, and they follow him. But the multitudes fail to see, for they are dazzled still by Bruha's garden. And worshiping this Bruha as gardener, the first and last.
I will take care of you.
But Elihu comes forth saying, I am the first and the last. Apart from me there is no gardener and no garden. And he boldly approaches the awesome Bruha, scandalizing the multitudes. The path to the garden is long. There is neither water to drink nor a morsel to eat.
Suck the juices from these if you can. Trust me, like the others. I offer power over the others. Power forcefully. Thirsty? I'll give you. Drink. Worship me! Pause and worship me like the others. Like the others, worship me! Please, worship me as the others do. Felicity. Worship me. Follow my plan. You can rule the whole valley. Just worship me!
Elihu stands as witness. Bruha shall not tempt the gardener. Stunned, the awesome garden blighted by one of kin and kind. His frightened followers warn him to avoid the vexed and populous hill. Elihu goes, despite the danger, while in their fear the vagrant few who followed him play dead. Thus, they recognize his difference with affliction. Those who followed and fled now return and drag the lifeless remains of El Hijo from the hill. To shroud him with the wings of the first king and queen as best they can. Then turn and re-enter the colony as they had so many times before, but this time with a difference. One of those, an old queen almost done with her lifespan of travail, an old queen with the new difference, crawls singly to the place where she helped bury him. She finds only the crumbled shroud of dead wings, without a trace of the different one. Here on this place she remains long enough to lay her last eggs. And the eggs hatch, and the larvae grow to spin cocoons, and the young emerge weakly. And when they've discovered that their legs are for walking, and their antennae for speaking, they discover something more. Unfolding from their bodies are wings. Among the multitudes of the valley, plant lice are still milked and mushrooms cultivated. Slaves are still kept by some, and wars are frequent. Yet there's a difference. And those who know this difference are drawn into a colony unto themselves, for it carries them far beyond themselves. From the summit of the highest mountain reign the gardener and El Hijo. If one tries to look up there, one can see only garden. Each bloom is exquisite, each leaf of great perfection.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, Ralph Forsberg may not be for everyone. But come on, the story of creation and about Jesus told with ants. I mean, yeah. Genius. Anyways, yeah, good ears, everybody, recognizing Fred Gwynn. Because I was like, God, it kind of sounds like him, but I don't know. But yeah, sure enough, you guys got it right. Yeah, wow. Hey, let me just say thank you to Burrow Owl and Rick Kay, even though they both probably hated this last film, for us buying this coffee. Coffee is our code for you sending us money so that we spend it on things like coffee, on things like tape, things like Kim wipes, and things like the software that we use to run the show. We got hit with a change up in how their tiered service, and we ended up having to pay $300 more than what we normally pay to support what we're currently doing, just to kind of maintain status quo. So your coffee will help pay for that, and we appreciate it, and we appreciate your comments, even if they're like, boy, that movie was lousy, because not every film I have is for every taste, and I know that, and I appreciate you letting me dabble in the not so populars, but everybody have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. We'll be back on Monday, and I'll show you more films that may or may not alienate you. That's part of the gamble here at AV Geeks is, sometimes we show films that everybody's like, wow, that was insane. And sometimes people are like, oh, that was insane. But either way, I appreciate showing you those films, even if they are groan-worthy. And everybody take care, and we will see you soon.